This week's edition of Sunday Sit Down brought to you by Quality Paint and Body on the Crockett Loop. Quality Paint and Body, serving Crockett and surrounding areas. For all your collision needs, stop by Quality Paint and Body today or call 936-544-2619.
Yes, sir. Well, my name is Michael Merchant. I'm married to my wife, Judy. We've been married about 25 years now. September will be 25.
Congratulations.
We have 4 children, 2 of which go to school here. I started my law enforcement career in 1993 when I went through the police academy, so it's right at 30 years this summer. I started out at Trinity Police Department.
Okay.
I worked there for quite a few years, and then I transferred up here to Crockett. Started as a patrol officer, and then I was a detective working under Jimmy Fisher as the chief. I left there and went to work for the Special Prosecution Unit. There were 7 of us for the state of Texas, so I traveled all over doing that stuff. It was the Prison Prosecution Unit is what we did, what they called us for short.
Okay.
Since then, I've worked at Grapeland Police Department, and my last career I was over in Leon County at the Sheriff's Office and the District Attorney's Office, where I was an investigator.
A lot of experience.
Yes, sir.
Now, this has been a big year for Lovelady ISD. You got the department officially established, put into place. So how did all that process come down? Tell us about that.
Well, the main thing is it was a team effort. When I came here, Ms. Tullis, the superintendent, as you know, had a lot of stuff already starting and getting put in place. And so when they hired me, I kind of had, a pretty good start on what I needed to do. So in that process, you have to get approval through TCOL, which is the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. And you have several documents. You have to get approval from the board for a department. There has to be documentations that they voted on it and they approved it. We have to approve the funding for the department. And then we have to write 9 different policies that have to be submitted. And then there's some other paperwork in there that you have to get done, and all that has to get submitted into TCOL. And then after they look at all that paperwork, they come down, they do an inspection.
Okay.
Also, part of it is we had to have an evidence safe that's sitting behind you to keep evidence if we gather any. And we got pretty lucky in Lovelady. Like I said, Miss Tullis had a pretty good start on everything, getting everything together. I got everything together in about 3.5 weeks and had approval.
Wow.
So I made contact as soon as I started here with TCOL to make sure, because I'm not sure how familiar you are with TCOL, but there's always a form that you got to fill out, and it's a checklist, so it's pretty easy if you know how to read their forms. And so I talked to the person that was going to be doing our inspection, and so she kind of is a sergeant with TCOL. She was kind of helping me through the process and kind of following us, and I submitted it on a Friday, and I called her, and she was, I'm coming through your area on Tuesday, so I'll just stop for an inspection. So we had to overnight it to Austin, and she called her captain when she got here, and he had already looked at it, gave her approval for all the documentation, and she did our inspection, and we got approved.
Wow. Well, it's a sad state that we live in, I suppose, that departments like this are necessary. And as Ms. Tullis herself told me when we spoke, Lovelady is a little bit of a walk from the nearest law enforcement.
It is. As you know, we're 15 miles south of Crockett. It's a large county. The Sheriff's Department does a great job. We work very closely with them, and I work with Crockett PD as well. Chief Smith Clayton is great. But yeah, we are out here kind of on our own. Best case scenario for me is if a deputy or a trooper may be in the area, God forbid something happens.
Right.
So.
Well, what was the reaction from kids and parents and teachers and everything to having our own in-house chief and police department?
It's been really great. I've gotten a very positive feedback from all the kids and the parents, and a lot of them tell me they feel relieved that we have an officer on campus now all the time. The kids have been great. Elementary kids, you go up and down the hallway, you get high fives, and so it's good. It's a good feeling.
Now, your experience, obviously, around the state as a detective and Crockett PD and Trent and all the rest, how different is this job? What's been kind of your favorite part of this job as compared to the other jobs you've had in law enforcement?
Well, it's a low stress, a different type of stress than doing a criminal investigation and all that kind of stuff. My favorite part of the job is the children. I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm at the end of my career. I've got 30 years service. I'll be here for quite a while, hopefully, as long as everything goes well. But my favorite part of the job is the kids. It makes my day to go up and down the hallways, and they engage and talk with me. Like I said, give me high fives. It's a good feeling that you can be a positive role model for some of these kids, and where they may not have any kind of dealings with the police, law enforcement. So try to just be positive in that way, and just show them that we're people. Police officers are people too.
What would you say has been the toughest part of the job, or something you didn't expect, or was tougher than you thought it might be?
Yeah, that's there's a couple of them. The main one was finding equipment. A patrol vehicle was very difficult to find. I spent hours and hours on the phone talking to people, searching the internet, trying to find a unit that we could have that could sit out in front of the school so that people would know that there's law enforcement presence.
Sure.
That yourself, as you know, is a deterrent, or can be a deterrent. So that was probably the hardest part, was just finding the equipment we needed to get the department started, because, last year it was coming out of all the COVID, and new vehicles are hard to find, and used vehicles are even harder and expensive. So we were lucky. I made a phone call to a company. They were out the first time I called them, and they told me just to keep trying back because they got used vehicles in often. And the day I called them, they got in 3, and we got one. So and then we had to get it all outfitted, which took a long time. Radios are on back order. Like we talked about before this, DPS was nice enough. They donated a radar to us. So we started traffic enforcement out there. And then probably the other difficult part is there's a lot of legislation going through in Austin right now. And there's a lot of bills going in front of the legislators to pass on school safety and school security. So keeping up with that. So not only recognizing our shortcomings, but keeping up with the laws as well. It can be difficult. Miss Tullis she's excellent at that stuff. And of course, I try to help out with my position, trying to keep up with all this. So we're keeping up with standards.
Well, the last question, as we came through the halls, they're pretty eerily quiet. Everybody's gone off their summer break. What are your personal plans for the summer, I guess? And probably the first job you've had where you actually get kind of a little break. And what are the plans for the department for next year? Any expansion, any new things you want to work on?
Yes, sir. Well, my plans for the summer is I have to do some training. This position requires some specialized training. I've got it all done. They have what they call a chief school that you have to go to. And so all my trainings I try to do during Christmas break or the summer. Since it's just me here, I don't want to miss any school. So I have some trainings I have to do. Expansion for next year is we're updating our fencing. We've got some more automatic door openers where you use the little key fobs to come in. We're getting all that put in. We're keeping up with all that type of legislation. So that's our plans. Like I said, we were lucky this year that we got a patrol vehicle, and I found a radar that was donated by DPS. So we're pretty good right there.